Hi, and welcome on my webinar on how to choose a flight school. My name is Sultan Sinali. I'm a private pilot and business consultant based in the Netherlands. I'm the proud father of two very noisy boys, and I'm a latecomer to aviation. I started flying at the age of 33 in the Caribbean. On this picture, you see one of my first lessons with my instructor, the late Eve. And I'm currently working on passing my instrument rating, allowing me to fly through clouds, which is one of the things I fear the most. If you're here today, it's probably because you have one of those dreams of aviation. I had this for a very long time. I remember as a kid sitting in a 727 for the first time, flying to Morocco from Brussels, and feeling the power of the engine and how it was speeding up on the runway. And I felt a wow feeling. And I felt like maybe I should try to do that. Maybe I can become a pilot. I remember, I think I was 8 years old. And then I thought, no, it's not possible for me. I don't have the money. I don't have the connection. I don't know how to do it. I was doing okay at school, but not very much. And I was always told, you need to be great at math. You need to have amazing vision and great physical condition, etc., etc. And so I pushed it away for a very long time. And maybe you are in the same situation yourself. You might be young, you might be old, but you might all have that dream of, what if I was flying an airplane? And what I wanted to do with you today is share my top 5 tips on how to choose a flight school. Choosing a flight school is probably one of the most important things you will be doing after deciding whether you will be flying or not. And flight school exists in all shapes and forms. They're all different. But what I'll try to do is try to help you sort out what would be the best choice for you. So I have 5 tips. The first one is defining your goal. What do you want to achieve? What is your flying dream? The second is all about location. How do you choose the right location for your training? Third one is trying. Always trying. Because it might be that you don't like flying at all, actually, that you prefer to sit in the back and it doesn't work for you. The fourth one is about money. Never pay upfront. There are a lot of scams. People are wasting a lot of money with flying lessons. It's not a cheap hobby. It's not a cheap passion. It's not a cheap profession. And so it's very good to be mindful about your own money. And point number 5 is about how to make a great plan. So let's jump right into it. It all starts with a goal. If you have that flying dream, it is really key that you define your goal. I would just say, grab a pen, grab a piece of paper, and just write down. And start your sentence by, I want to, or I see myself as. And it could be anything, as long as it's about flying, of course. But it's really important that you write it down, that you keep it for yourself, and that you make that dream as sharp as possible. Is it about you stepping into an airplane and creating the team and getting the captain seat? Or it's just about bringing your family towards the airport and stepping into a small plane and taking them away on a vacation? And this is what I love about aviation, is that there are many ways you can go. You can go from being a captain in a jet, working together with a co-pilot and doing a flight across the ocean at 40,000 feet. Or it could be flying general aviation, small airplanes like Cessna, Cirrus, Piper, etc. And flying from place to place, from country to country, or just inside a country, just flying above your house, your village, your town, etc. So depending on what you want to do, it will also help feed what kind of school you will be choosing to start learning how to fly. Please be mindful that if you are what we see on the right side, more of a private pilot, flying smaller airplanes, You can always become a professional pilot afterwards. It is actually a stepping stone towards becoming a professional pilot. So when choosing a school and when you think like, I'm not entirely sure that that professional pilot thing is something for me, you can always start with a private pilot license. And then afterwards, when you think like, hey, maybe that's that aviation thing, maybe I should do it. Well, you can always learn to become a professional pilot. Point number 2 is location. Location, location, location. There are many airfields across Europe. We have a lot of options available, but not all of those options have flight schools. And what is really key here is that you will be spending a lot of time at the airport. And the airport can be far away, close to your home, and you need to consider all those points. So let's go very quickly through, I think, some of the key points. First of all, you could choose for a flight school that is located at a large airport. It is an amazing experience because it allows you to learn in a very controlled environment. You will need to speak with a radio asking for clearance to start your engine, taxi to the runway, take off. You'll probably need to file flight plans, so you will be really learning into a professional controlled environment. The downside of it is that it might be more expensive because the landing fees might be higher, but it can also take more time. Because if you need to go between two Boeing that need to take off, then you will need to wait for your turn. The other alternative is to go to a small field. Small fields are great. I love them. They provide you a lot of flexibility. You can just go there. You don't have a controlled environment in most cases. All you need to do is just get in the airplane, make sure you checked everything, and then you can go and fly. The downside of it is that it's less structured. So while it will give you a lot of experience flying and spending time in the air, you will probably not learn a lot about how to manage communications in the airport. What I have seen is that many schools that are located in small fields will allow you to learn a lot in the first hours into that small field. Then, as your experience is growing, they will take you to controlled areas where you will be forced to practice your radio communication. Another key point is thinking about the distance and the travel time. I cannot stress this enough. So you might live between two airports. One is 30 kilometers and the other one is 50 kilometers away. The one which is 30 kilometers away might have traffic on a regular basis, which means that your travel time might be longer. While the 50-kilometer away will force you to make more kilometers every time you're going to the airport, it might actually take you less time. And here I just made a small example. So a private pilot license is usually about 50 hours flying time. Could do more, you could do a bit less, but let's say you would do 50 hours spread around 30 lessons. If you spend those 30 lessons and then you take 10 minutes time too, it would mean that you are wasting 10 hours in traffic. So that's quite a lot of time. So be mindful of taking into consideration what is important for me. Is that the number of kilometers I will be doing or the time I will be spending in the car to go to the airport? Another key aspect is that whenever you want to go and choose a flight school, you'll do your research online. You'll find probably 1, 2, 3 schools that are interesting for you. I cannot stress enough you to go and try. Always give it a try. You need to understand whether you could do a discovery flight. It's usually 30 minutes or an hour with an instructor, and you see how does it feel. Do you like the instructor? Is that the instructor you will be having over time? Do you like the school? Do they look professional? Do they have good aircrafts? How many apprentices they have? Is it a busy school? Is it a small school? Is it a flying club? How is the vibe? Do you like it? You don't like it? You need to feel good because you'll spend a lot of time there. And I think it's really important for you to get a good grasp on how they're working. Another important aspect is what kind of training they provide. And I can tell you what kind of people they have been training. Have they been training only professional pilots or only private pilots? And does that fit with your schedule? And finally, when you do a discovery flight or a test flight, the most important thing is that you know whether you like flying or not. It doesn't happen often, but sometimes people go for a discovery flight and after takeoff, they say, oh my God, I don't want to be flying. And it's good. If you know that you don't like flying, it is a great decision because you'll save thousands of euros in flight training if you don't like flying. And it's good to know that when you do discovery flight, then after you bought all your gears, your headset and everything. This leads us to the next point, which is to never pay up front. Let's say you go to a flight school and they say, well, you could do the training with us. It's usually 10,000 euro, but if you pay upfront 8,000 euro, you'll get the same amount of hours and training. I would be really, really, really cautious about it because if you give them the 8,000 euro and they go bankrupt, you lost your money. Most schools and flying clubs work using either an amount that you pay, like 1,000 euro or 500 euro upfront to pay for a couple of the classes that you'll have. And you have an account with them and they will deduct the money until you go low onto your account and then you fill it back in. And that's a good way. That way you can manage your money in a safe way and make sure that you only pay while you're flying. So just be mindful about that. Finally, it's all about making a plan. We have that vision, we have that flying goal that we have. You know what you want to do. You have an idea of where you want to fly. You have an idea of what kind of training and how much it's going to cost. It's really key to make a plan and to execute. And for you, I have like 5 stages. First of all, we have defined what the goal is. So what is your vision? Just write it down. Start it with, I wanted to. Put it on a piece of paper, put it on a wall, put it somewhere you can see it, that you keep reminding what you want to achieve. You can use picture, you can use whatever you want, but just make that visual that you don't forget why you're doing it. Learning to fly can be very frustrating. It can be tiring. It is not always easy, but when it works well, it's an amazing feeling. Second, timeline. When do you want to be ready with your training? Depending on the kind of training you want to do, you could do that in 3 months, 6 months, 1 year, 2 years. It depends. But just make sure you prepare your timeline. You say, okay, I want to be ready within 6 months. How do I get there? Just be realistic in your plan. There's a good rule of thumb that says that if you make a plan, it will usually take double the time and 3 times the budget. Just be mindful that it could happen. So if you say, okay, I want to be ready in 3 months, then you can have an ambitious goal of 3 months. But take into mind that it could take 6 months or a year. It's okay. Life happens. People can get sick. You can have too much work. A lot of things can happen. Just make sure that you take into consideration a realistic plan on the timeline perspective. Cost. Probably also a very tricky point. What will be the cost of the training? You have flight school that will provide you a price package that is including everything. You have other schools that will ask you to pay per flight training hour and hour for the instructor. Just write all those costs down and try to look at what will be the cost. Just be pessimistic about it. Okay? It can happen that things change, that fuel prices go up, etc. So just make sure that you have a buffer. I would advise to have a 30% buffer on top of the budget that you had into mind. This way, if it happens and it's cheaper, You're very surprised. You can be very happy and use that money to do some cool stuff. Fourth point, stakeholders. Stakeholders, everyone that is involved into your success, into your life. So it's your family, it's your friends, it's your girlfriend, your boyfriend, whoever is around you. Are they on board with your plan? Especially if you have a family, your family will need to understand that you'll be spending time at the airport. You might go once or twice a week to get your flight training, meaning that you might be missing some events and some activities. You might be studying at night for your exams. And it's really good that you have your goal, you have your plan, and that you share it with them and that they're on board. Because it is really, really hard for you if you need to study and go to the airport and go to your flying training, knowing that your family is not happy about it or that you are missing some events. That, oh, I have this flight training, but at the same time, I have my kid's birthday. It gives you a lot of stress. And it's really good to speak that up front to make sure that everything is clear, that you agree that, okay, I'll be studying 2 evenings per week and I'll be flying 2 times a week, that you agree that with your partner or with your parents or whoever, making sure that there are no surprises on either side. That will make you a better pilot and that will allow you to study much faster because you don't have that stress element in your head. Final point is action. Just get moving. You find your school, you decided you can do it, you have the buy-in from your relatives, just go and execute. Go fly, learn as much as you can. And most importantly, it's important to enjoy the ride. As I said, flying is amazing. You'll do some very cool stuff. You'll see some beautiful places. You'll have some very stressful moments. It's going to be hard at times. You'll have those amazing moments and just enjoy them, think about them, because they will feed your motivation over time. So this has been a lot of information. And probably you wonder, what did he say at the beginning? Well, don't worry. I have created for you a flight school checklist. You can download it on the website. I'll share with you via email a link to the document. And what this checklist provides you, it's a 2-pager, very simple, where you can fill in your information, your flying goal, information about the school, the type of training that they're offering, the type of fleet they have, the cost information, location, etc. So you'll be able to fill in each form for each school that you find, and you could use it to do your desk research, sitting behind your computer and checking all those websites on Google, or when you are visiting the school as well. I truly believe that this tool can help you make the right choice for you and then help you get on with your dream. I really want to thank you for taking the time to watch this webinar. I wish you an amazing day, evening, morning, whatever the time is you're watching this. And I wish you, most importantly, a lot of flying dreams. Have a safe flight. Bye-bye.